Dear students, in second MSc I have one optional paper, that is scientific research methodology. In scientific research methodology, it is new to you, I think. In a lot of universities they having research methodology. You heard about that, but it is scientific research methodology. There are 5 units in this scientific research methodology paper. The first one is literature survey. So it is completely related to the researcher. Okay, so any researcher doing research, the first part is survey of literature. So they are providing this literature survey in your unit. That means you need to study primary, secondary and tertiary sources. Okay, so first of all you want to know what is primary, second and tertiary sources, then how to collect the literature. That point of view, the indexes, abstract and science and technology, then so many things, chemical abstract, chemical title, that's all about the literature survey. Then the second part is classical and comprehensive reference works in chemistry, that related to synthetic methods and techniques, treatise, reviews, patents and monographs. So that will be discussed in the later part of the unit. So today we are going to discuss about the source of chemical information, especially primary, secondary and tertiary sources. Okay, so start with the unit, the primary, secondary, tertiary sources. Okay, so what is meant by primary, secondary and tertiary sources? So I can tell primary, secondary and tertiary sources depends on how you plan to use the source and the disciplinary norms that you govern your project. So in your project, how will you use the primary, secondary and tertiary sources? That is the sources of chemical information. How will you use how will you use the primary sources, how will you use the secondary sources and how will you use the tertiary sources in your project? That is the things of the primary, second and tertiary sources. So first of all you want to know what is mean by primary, second and tertiary sources. That point of view we look, first one is a primary sources. That is nothing but it is a original material. So whatever original material you have, that is called as a primary sources. Okay, that's what the definition tells. Primary sources are the original material or evidence to be analyzed. So whether you analyzed or are collecting some things, that is your original material. Okay, don't look others, don't discuss others. Okay, don't get anyone. So original material, whatever material you have originally, that is called as a primary sources. Okay, that is primary sources are the original material or evidence to be analyzed, evaluated or synthesized in the research process. Okay, it presents original thinking is very important. Original thinking, report a discovery or share new information. Okay, that's all though, it's related to original thinking, original materials. Okay, primary means whatever material you have, whatever thing you have, that is called as a primary material. Okay, an example is literary creations. Okay, so that means the particular area, how will you create about the particular area. Second one is audio recordings. Third one diaries means whatever you are observed in the lab or anything else you noted one book, that is called as a diaries. Letters, patterns means first identification of or something you are finding new, that is patterns. Photographs, speeches, interviews means you can talk with orally in any other stories, telephone or email. Okay, that all the primary sources. Whatever sources you originally having, that is called as a primary sources. Okay, then we move to the secondary sources. Secondary sources analyze, evaluate, contextualize or synthesize evidence. They often give second-hand accounts based on engagement with the primary sources. Okay, whatever find in the primary sources, okay, that is engaged with some other, collecting some other details, that is called as a secondary sources. So it is based on the primary sources. So first of all you find out the primary sources, then you go for the secondary source. Secondary source analyze, evaluate, contextualize or synthesize evidence. Okay, is collecting evidence about your project. Okay, that's about your primary thing. Okay. So secondary sources are not evidence but rather commentary on and discussion of evidence. Okay, that's not only for evidence, it is a discussion of evidence. Okay, so there's a lot of examples also having, so I put some of the example only. Example, bibliographies. Okay, bibliographies normally we call it as a reference. It is also considered as a tertiary. Okay, we can consider as a secondary also. Then commentaries, criticisms. Okay, so if you are telling something about that one, you are discussing some other persons, they are providing the comment, okay, or criticism, that is a secondary sources. Or magazine, okay, you are collecting some magazine about that, you are looking through that magazine or newspaper article, and also textbook. Okay, textbook having some things about you are having the original thingy, it's related to original thingy, that is also considered as a secondary as well as a tertiary. Then monographs, it is related to books also. Okay, so these are the secondary sources. Okay, then we move for the tertiary source. Tertiary sources condense, summarize and synthesize many secondary and primary sources. That is very important. Okay, it's condense, summarize and synthesize many secondary and primary sources. Okay, if you have primary sources and secondary sources, you are condensing that things, are summarizing things, it is called as a tertiary sources. Okay, tertiary sources can help you contextualize work within the broader field. Okay, the tertiary source will help you are working in a broader field because it is summarize or synthesize or condense the secondary and primary sources. Okay, the tertiary sources are some of the example. This is textbook. Okay, already we are telling the secondary sources, that means I put in bracket is also considered as a secondary. Fact books, okay, that is you are summarizing some things, okay, or synthesizing some things. Guide books, okay, bibliographs also considered as a secondary. Then manuals. Okay, so that's about the primary, secondary and tertiary sources. Okay, so first if all understood what is primary, secondary and tertiary, something will be new, so it is sometimes it is hard to understand, but anyway primary is your original thinking, second is a engagement with the primary things, tertiary means it is a condensed or summarized things of primary and secondary things. Okay, that's you are understood, and with the examples you can understand something. Hope you are understood. Okay, we will meet the next class in the next chapter. So next, not in next chapter, next portions. Okay, thank you.